Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is John and today we'll be talking about the variable view of SPSS. So when you import your data from Excel onto SPSS, you have the data view and the variable view. The data view is where your data is presented, and the variable view is where you can work on your variables and present them in such a manner as you want them to be analyzed. And so you have the type of variable in your data. So when we check our data view, we see that if the ID is part of our data we want to analyze, then the ID variable is presented numerically. So in the variable view, the type of data is numeric. That is what the type of data here stands for. So we take another variable, age, and we see that the data under age is presented numerically. And so in the variable view, the type of data for age is, or the type of variable for age is numeric. That is what this part means. It's simply what type of variable or what type of data is presented under the variables that you have in your data or in your data sets. So we see that with gender, they are strings or they are words. And so in the variable view, you have a string type. So you choose the type of variable based on the data presented under each of the variables. And then the width. So the width is how long the data presented under each variable is. So we can see here that under gender, which is a string and variable, the female is the longest word under this variable. And we know that female has 6 letters. And so under the variable view, the width of this variable is 6, which means that it is accommodating 6 letters. And then when we come back here, under age, we can see that there are 2 figures. We have, for instance, for the first one, 20, 2 and 0, 2 figures. So when you come to the variable view, it is presented as 2 under the width for that variable. So that is what that one also stands for. And then the decimals is if you have a continuous data or a numerical data and that data has decimals, how many decimal places does that data or does that variable have? So variable view, we can see that the GPA is the one with decimals, and then the steady hours is the other one with decimals. And then we can see that here the decimals are 1 and 1 respectively. So when you check the data view, you can see the decimals are 1 for GPA and then 1 for steady hours. So again, that is what the decimal section is for. So the label section is just whatever label you want to give your variable. It's just as the name says, label. So whatever label you want to give your variable is what you insert in the label section. Now for values, values is if you have a categorical data and the categorical data is presented as a numerical data in your data set. For instance, you come to the value section and then you indicate the numerical data in that variable and what each number stands for. So for instance, when we come to gender, I will insert a variable here, come to the variable view, and then let me say sex, and then numeric. Decimals, I will have no decimals, and then here I'll call it, let's say, gender category. Then I will come here and then I will say for every male, let me represent it by 0, for every female by 1. So 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, and then 0. Then I come to the variable view and then I come to label values, and then I say every 0 is a male. I add every 1 is a female, and then I add, and then I say okay. So this is what I mean by when you have a categorical data. So I have grouped the gender or the sex into male and female, but the categorical data is presented numerically under this variable. So what I do is that when I come to the variable view, under this variable, which is numeric, however, I would want to analyze that variable as a categorical variable. What I do is I come to the value section, and then I input what each number stands for in that data set under that variable. That is what the value labels or the values stand for. The value section, that is what it stands for. And then the next section, which is the missing, is just how many missing values are in your data set. The measure is what scale of measurement is your variable. So we know that when we do statistics, we have nominal, ordinal, ratio, and interval. The ratio and interval are numerical, so SPSS combines both of them as scale. And then the nominal and ordinal, you choose depending on the variable. Ordinal variables, for instance, like if you are categorizing CGPA into first class, second class upper, second class lower, and the rest, it is an ordinal variable because there is a scale to it, there is preference to it. First class is better than second class upper, and second class upper is better than second class lower. And then we have categorical variables that have no scale or that have no preference to them. For instance, gender, male or female, it is a nominal variable. So that is what you do here. So for instance, gender, this variable is a categorical variable in string and it is nominal. So one thing you must also note is that if the data in your data set is string, then you choose the ones for categorical, like nominal and ordinal. Automatically it chooses for you. But if you also have a numeric data, and then in your data set you want to represent that numeric data as a categorical variable, then you come and then you also come and choose which measure or scale of measure suits that variable. So it is still a nominal variable. Sex is still a nominal variable. So that is what this section stands for, or that is what this section is used for. For the role, alignment, and columns. Alignment is just how your data is aligned to the left, to the right. So for these three sections, they are not really necessary, but the sections in the variable view that are really necessary are the ones that we've touched on. In our next video, we will learn how to perform simple statistical analysis such as descriptive analysis using SPSS. But in today's video, we just learned what the variable view is and then what you do to the variable view that will suit each of the variables presented in your data. If you found this video helpful, click on the like button, subscribe, and share for others to learn. Thank you and catch you on the next one.